Again, I do apologize. I had a little bit of issues. I'm trying to use the town's WebEx, and I think a lot of people weren't able to log in because somehow I lost the password for it. And I have like 3 different WebEx accounts. It was kind of a mess, but I think we're up and running again. So let's kick it off. We're going to call the meeting to order. Thanks, everybody, for being here. First order of business, as always, is to approve the minutes from Thursday, July 16th, 2020. And Ed, thank you for sending out those minutes. Were there any comments? If you're muted.
There were no comments, negative.
All right. So if we have anybody, we're going to motion to approve the minutes. Laura? So moved, seconded?
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor? And we have unanimous. Okay. Once again, if people wouldn't just mind muting their microphones until they're ready to talk, there's some feedback coming through. I had a very hard time hearing Bill, so I'm not sure. We might have to just run through really quick if anybody had some notes of what he said. But the very first thing I do have to say, Ed, if you wouldn't mind just muting for a sec, I think you're feeding back here. I'll mute you. Okay. All right. So the special announcement, I have a kind of a bittersweet announcement to make to everyone. Unfortunately, this will be Ed's last meeting as a member of the Bike and Pedestrian Committee. So I'll leave it maybe for him just to say a few words about, the reasons and everything like that. But I just wanted to thank Ed. You've been here. So for those of you who didn't know, Ed and I were friends in high school, and we lost connection until we came back to the Bike and Pedestrian Committee. So it's been great working with him over the last couple of years. And, he's always been there. He probably has the best attendance record of all of us. The present company definitely included. Did a great job with doing all the minutes, always there to help out with events and everything like that. And so, Ed, one of the things that we did want to do, I was speaking with Linda and Karen. She's not able to be here today, but we wanted to have you a little going away gift for you. So we made you a nice little Yeti with the official Bike and Pedestrian logo on it. And on the back, it says, "Thank you very much, Ed, for your years of service to the Fairfield Bike and Pedestrian Committee." So you're on mute right now. But Ed, do you want to say a few words maybe? And again, thank you so much for your service over these years.
Yeah, thank you. That's very kind. And I was going to start by saying that it was a joy to reconnect with you on the committee after high school and all those years. I want to thank the vice chair, Laura. I was really lost when Don left. He was like my mentor. I think Linda knows that. And Laura kind of stepped in and really was my mentor over the last couple months. So thank you, Laura. And Linda, you're my friend. We've had so much fun on our subcommittee together, planning events with Walt and Don, and thank you. And Tina, thank you. We wouldn't be here. We would not have accomplished as much as we have accomplished without your support and your tireless help. So thank you. And Engineer Hurley is not here, but he actually knew because I saw him in the Duchess yesterday. He was there for, Bill. I knew Bill was good people, but when I saw him in Duchess, it just confirmed everything. So thank you, everyone. It has been fun. It's been more fun. It never felt like a labor. Everyone is so committed, so dedicated. I'm so appreciative of the chance to work with each of you and a chance to get to know all of you. As for me, I am moving to the UK for 2 years. I'm the product director now. And I'll be traveling to other European countries. It's part of my remit. I've been in the role since June, so usually by this hour of the day, I'm mushy. I mean, I'm working UK hours now, so my day usually starts at 4:30 a.m. So by this hour, I'm pretty useless. so thank you.
Ed, when do you actually move to the UK?
So my house is sold. The mortgage appraisal is tomorrow. The closing is the 31st. And then I'm going to drive to North Carolina and spend a week with my folks. And then I'll leave for London from North Carolina, probably in mid-September. The only wrinkle is I'm still waiting for my work visa. And I should have that next week, fingers crossed. So that's really the last missing piece.
And Ed, we're definitely going to miss you. We'll have to just separately connecting. I want to get a chance to, say goodbye and also give you your cool little Yeti. And thank Karen was the one. Lynn and I kind of tossed some ideas around, and then Karen got it done in like 45 seconds. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So.
It was amazing. Yeah.
But if anybody else wants to say anything, please do. It's always sad to lose a member of our committee. It's been, especially somebody who's been here since the very beginning. There's only a few of us left, so.
And Ed, you have pleasure to work with. Wait till I tell Walt that you're leaving. He's going to be heartbroken.
Oh, no.
Ed has been even,
Congratulations.
Ed has been even more than a pleasure. He's been a just really important part of this team. He does a great job in the minutes. They're always on time and done well. So I don't know how we can replace him,
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing is, if anybody does feel they would like to step into the secretary's role, I kind of feel like a fifth grade teacher saying, like, who wants to do this? And everybody's heads goes up. Like, nobody volunteers. I'm going to have to pick somebody. So.
I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jay, we might, it'd be great to have, if anybody wants to step into, I don't want to force it. It's a tough role. I know that. It's also hard because it does require, the person to be usually there for almost all the meetings. So we'll talk about that next time. But let's just get moving on with the meeting, try to cover some of our agenda items here. I did send,
Before we do, I'm assuming Ed's going to turn in the minutes before he leaves, so we're covered for this meeting? Yes.
Yeah, he'll do the
Okay.
minutes for this one, right, Ed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Committed to the bitter end.
And I believe our committee has to vote next month on whoever we select as secretary. I think because that's an official position, it needs a vote.
That is true.
Okay.
We don't have to vote for Ed leaving because we can't force him to stay, I guess. All in favor of Ed not leaving.
I
wish we could make him stay.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you saw, the first select woman did send out her message today, and the thing that we had authored, Mike and Karen and I had authored kind of a safety tips. We were going to think about doing it as a 3-part series, but actually I got a phone call from Jennifer Carpenter yesterday, and she said they'd like to do it in its entirety. And so what they did is they put the first blurb about what our committee does in the newsletter itself, and then there was a link to the rest of it. So that was, we wanted to put some things out there about biking safety and pedestrian tips and things like that. And also, I did send an email. We did have some updates to our webpage that was done by the town intern. And actually, that was the reason that Jennifer called me, because she was very appreciative of the fact that I mentioned the intern. And I guess that she even had teared up in the office. She was very happy to have some recognition for her work over the summer, which I think is wonderful. Again, I always remember the start of my careers and my jobs, and it's always nice when you're recognized, even if it's just a summer job from college and things like that. So I was very happy that was able to happen. Again, I do apologize. I couldn't hear Bill at all when he was talking. Did anybody have any, he mentioned a couple of things about the health of the Wilson Street, the sidewalk to nowhere, and a couple of other things. Is anybody able to just summarize what he had said?
Well, I thought on Wilson Street, he said that they thought they were going to be able to put the sidewalk in. I thought I heard that the money would be there. It wasn't that much money, but I'm not sure I heard it correctly. On sidewalk to nowhere, they're going to ask for comments. Didn't sound like they made a decision yet, and he asked us to comment.
And then he gave an update on the Post Road survey. You could always email him and ask him, because the audio was bad. I had a hard time hearing him. So maybe he could do his notes in an email, and then we could add it as an addendum to the minutes.
I mean, if anybody has questions in the Post Road Circle study, I was also on the call yesterday, so I could answer them perhaps. They had five different designs. 3 of them put in traffic signals at the key points, like in front of the diner. And then one as you get to the other side where it intersects with East Highway coming across. And so there were 3 different versions of that. Then there were 2 different, oh, and by the way, the signals, they made both routes 2 ways instead of 1 way. I don't know why. Oh, somebody's putting it up. Who just put that up?
I did. That was from the meeting, the prior meeting. Those were the concepts that were introduced that they wanted the group to comment on.
Right. So you can see the top, I think the top 3 are the ones that are signaled. And they changed, the roads are mostly 2 ways. And the bottom 2 have 2 different types of roundabouts. And they thought the bottom 2 would be a little more effective, but more expensive. But they're still studying.
I can speculate. I can send these around as well. I took a screenshot during the meeting.
Yeah, well, they're going to be on the website, which I can send around as well. They're going to have a summary of the meeting. I commented that I was concerned in how the 5 different scenarios address pedestrians and transit riders. And they said they've really got to do more work to determine that. And my experience in doing the road safety audit in that area is there are a lot of transit riders, and they have all they can do to get across the roads to either go to the diner or the hotel where they work, or across to go to Stop and Shop, and it's just really not friendly to them. And they said that the team said they've got to work with the Bridgeport transit, what do they call it? Anyway, to coordinate and see what's the best way to handle that. So there's work yet to be done.
Okay, thanks. Anna just messaged that she's having a little bit of trouble with the audio. I was as well. One little tip that you might try doing if you are on the WebEx, if you click the 3 little dots on the bottom and there's a thing called the audio connection, you can actually call in on your phone. That's what I've done, and it's a little bit better of a connection than just having, if people are not muted, we get a lot of feedback. And so it seems to be a bit better now. So maybe just, again, please try to mute yourself if you're not the one talking, or if you don't have earphones on. Okay, so Santina, I want to turn it over to you. You had something about the HIA Healthy Lifestyles Regional Trail Mapping Application.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I just want to say good luck to Ed. It was a pleasure working with you. I'm very sad to see you leaving. And who's going to email me to remind me to do the things I said I would do in the group? So I'm really sad that you're leaving, but good luck to you and everything in your future. Keith, I actually don't have an update about that. The gentleman and I kind of emailed back and forth, and we have not set up a time to chat yet. So when I do, I will let you know. I don't know too much about it. I unfortunately missed that regional meeting, but that's all I kind of got.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Was that the email that I was also on? We're trying to find a time to get together. Okay. I do apologize. I'm not sure if I told other people, but I have gone back to work, so I've gone from like a 0 speed to like 500 miles an hour in a day. So yeah, it's good to be back, but it's at the same time I've been really busy. So okay.
Do you want to be included in that conversation, or does someone else want to be included?
Maybe what I can do maybe is just send it around if we have a little bit more details. I'll stay on it for now, and then maybe kind of hand it off to somebody else as we move forward with it.
Okay. And then the only other thing from health is the grant. So we have the $9,000 that needs to be spent by September 30th. That's the Wilson Street that Bill was kind of talking about. And it sounds like DPW can do the sidewalks in-house. So we're hoping that they can get that on the way sooner rather than later. And I think that's it from health. Sorry, it's been
No, I
kind of
understand.
quiet.
And I
in
know, I
that sense.
think people have a little bit maybe zoomed out over the recent past, so we'll try to move quickly through our meeting here today. I'm hoping that we'll be able to be meeting back in person in the near future. It does seem like things are starting to open up, but we have to wait for the town to give us the go-ahead on that. We don't have anybody from the police here today, so I'm just going to pass that by. I did just I always keep the Complete Streets Subcommittee update in there. Anything from your end, Laura, on the Complete Streets, or anybody else on that committee, Ann?
I don't have anything. I just want to make a comment. I'm curious. It's not related to Complete Streets specifically, but I hear people comment about how fast everybody is driving in town. And I've noticed quite a bit as I bike around. Does anybody else have any comments on that? Mike's nodding his head.
It's out of control everywhere.
It definitely. So just maybe I'll jump ahead a little bit. I was on. I'm not sure. I think I saw Jay. I think I saw you that were on that Facebook Live the other day. I had a bit of tech problems ever since the storm. Optima seems to cut in and out on me sometimes. So I was able to do my presentation, but I dropped off at the end. I just couldn't stay connected. But Tony Huang had organized a meeting. There was Captain Calamaris from the police department. There was a sergeant from Troop G of the state police. Laura Devlin was there. Kristen McCarthy-Behe was invited, but she couldn't attend. There was also a member of the Stratfield Village Association. And I don't think there was a lot of people actually listening to the Facebook Live, but the general consensus was, yeah, there's definitely been some issues, people driving a lot faster. The police were very, honest that they have a very active traffic division, but again, the state police were, that troop in particular has a huge geographical area to cover, and so they're doing the best that they can with the resources that they have. Fairfield was the same, a very similar thing as well, trying to really, trying to do the enforcement, but also do the education. We continue to kind of push our message out there with I'm very happy that the Select Woman has been putting our information in every single newsletter update. Again, we try to do the recommendations. You just hope we can start changing people's mentalities and things like that. But yeah, there's been some problems with, the speeding and of course accidents that have been happening. There was an accident, I think Laura was you that sent me, there was one in Southport the other day, or somebody sent me the email that there's an accident in Southport. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to keep trying to work at it. If anybody else has any other comments, Ann, I see you'd like to. I don't hear any voice from you, Ann.
You're not muted, but we can't hear you.
Yeah. You'll have to text us and we can read. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was Sergeant Derry who was the guy from Bridgeport.
Yeah.
I didn't realize really how wide, and I understand why I never see a state policeman on the road anymore. I mean, honestly.
Oh. Now, can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes, we can hear you now, Ann.
I can't see you anymore, but anyway, this isn't about speeding, but about Complete Streets, if we're there.
Yes, please.
Can I move on? Okay.
Yes.
So last time we talked about identifying intersections around town, a couple of intersections around town for potential like paint bump outs to help with pedestrians. I identified one down here in the beach area that I know neighbors have been really like active and trying to get something to happen for a while. And I contacted Bill, and he said he was going to go back out there. I know they've contacted him on their own. He said he was going to go back out there with an eye towards the paint bump out. But I hadn't heard anything further from him on that. That was like a week and a half ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. But I don't know of other potential intersections that might be good for that around town. And I think other people in other areas maybe we're going to think about places that they know of that might be interested, where the neighbors already might be interested, or we could easily do it. So if anyone knows any intersections like that, let me know, and I can contact Bill and try and get, at least some type of pilot paint bump out program going.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, and if anybody does have any intersections, probably just best to email them to Ann, and we can move forward with that, and get them on the list with Bill. Which intersection was it by the beach?
It's I think it's Riverside on South Benson. Is that it? Where it's like, is that the name of the road? I'm sorry. Now it's like.
That's our bike lane. It's the bike lane one, right?
And it's that stop sign in the midsection of South Benson where, I think it's Riverside Drive, right? Comes to the stop. There's a stop sign, and no one ever stops there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They're like the neighbors.
Riverside comes off.
Huh?
Go ahead, Jay.
The neighbors have approached the police
several
times, speed bumps and things, and that they get rejected. They've been rejected several times, so they're anxious for something to happen. So hopefully we can help a little bit.
Great, thanks. Okay, we're just going to keep moving on. I think we had the Community Advisory Committee. I think either Ed or Laura was going to mention something about that. It was a post road safety study on August 5th.
We kind of talked about it. So I covered on behalf of Laura. She was on holiday. So we kind of looked. I mean, the biggest thing that came out of there, two things. One were the concepts that we just shared. They don't want to move on with all five. They want enough direction because it's expensive to evolve all five of them. So they really wanted feedback so they could pick the one or two that they're going to evolve. And then the other thing is, one of the biggest factors is the volume of traffic that comes off of I-95 during the morning commute and the afternoon commute. So what they were challenging the different groups to do was to think about whether or not we wanted to dissuade that the motorists from using that as a cut through. And the different concepts achieve that differently. And one of the ideas, if they use the ones like the roundabout, or they call it that peanut. And here, I'll share one more thing. Well, if they use the roundabout, it would discourage traffic coming off of 95 to use it as a cut through. Because what will happen is over time, the motorist cutting through will realize that it's not as fast to negotiate the roundabout. So that's one of the challenges that they're posing to the group, to the CAC and to the technical advisory committee. And eventually that will come up, did that meeting happen where they're going back to the public at large? I don't know if that meeting happened yet, but I'm sure that will come up again.
Well, that was what last night's meeting was.
Okay, so yeah. Here's the
And there were about 25 people on it. And they had a lot of questions and comments.
So these were the five designs. And the first three were more conventional. And then the two, and that was one of the questions they asked in the survey. They asked the respondents, do you want a more conservative kind of solution, or do you want something more radical? And the roundabout and the peanut were obviously the two most radical designs that they were presenting. So this gives you an idea. I thought this graphical interface was pretty cool to kind of show what the benefits of each were against those different operation safety bicycles. It's definitely worth. It was a highly informative meeting. So if Laura sends out the link to the site, I encourage everyone to take a look at what was presented now. And Laura's right. They're still only in the second phase of 4 phases. So they've done their discovery. They're presenting back to the groups now. And the next phase will be a deeper design based on the concepts that have been selected or informed. I wouldn't say selected, informed by the different groups of stakeholders.
One of the interesting points that they made last night that I hadn't thought about is the traffic lights can actually be more dangerous if you look at the safety, because people stop and then cars, especially snow and rain or whatever, rear end each other. Whereas the roundabouts, people just slow down and take turns. And that was an interesting point that I hadn't heard before.
And so that was the August 5th and the August 19th. Those were both on the same subject, correct?
Totally.
There was one. It was the second public workshop for the post road safety. Said those the same topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those nights were public. Same presentation.
Okay. Great. Thanks. We'll move on to the concerns on Route 732 and Black Rock Turnpike. I think this was you, Jay, that wanted to. You sent an email. I just wanted to see if you wanted to mention a few things about this.
Well, I was at the point of going to the window and yelling to the world, but I decided to write to the police instead. And it's just one, it is a neighborhood, but it's one more indication of the kinds of disregard for any kind of posted speed limits. Here it's particularly dangerous because there's a downward hill where people just, seriously, 60 miles an hour, and there's a light about 100 yards down the road. And if that light is red, I just don't want to be here when a truck, and there are a lot of trucks, when a truck loses its brakes one day.
Where is this?
It's happened. This is Black
Where
Rock
is
Turnpike. This is Route 732, which is a state designated number for Black Rock Turnpike.
But is there a specific area of it?
Yeah, between Naps and Tungus Hill.
Okay.
So it's about a 3/4, half mile, 3/4 of a mile where we live, and it was a point where we're interested in just getting the police to consider some kind of mitigation for that stretch, because it is a residential neighborhood which is treated like a commercial area. So anyway, it was a personal and committee related request to the police, and they're in transition. Officer Scioli passed me over to Paris and one other fellow, and I'm going to be in touch with them. It was about a step to getting them to move acting. And so I know it's a long process, but we're trying to figure out how to do it. So.
Also on Black Rock Turnpike, it's not exactly related, but I just saw the agenda for the next TPZ meeting, and they're talking about putting up a 23-building, 4-story apartment building at the corner of Black Rock and Castle Avenue.
I don't know
Castle Avenue is if you're going down toward Black Rock, toward the I-95, it's the last road that cuts in.
Castle. Okay.
So it's in the corner.
Yeah.
Which will only add to traffic.
Well, to your point about the lights, people stop at the light and then they feel like, well, now I got to go 60 to 70 miles an hour to get up the hill. So it's a little bit of, what is best for the area. But anyway, so I'm starting that conversation, and I included Keith on the email. And I'll be in touch with those fellows. But we're just one section, but it's indicative of what is going on really around all over town. So.
Yeah, we've definitely been getting a lot of comments about speeding, or even just like the fact that there's just so many more people on the road. And when I said this in the traffic, the distracted driving seminar, when coronavirus first started, of course, more and more people started going out and walking and biking and doing everything. But now that people have started driving again, they're just having a lot more people, and that's kind of the goal of a lot of things that we've been doing over the last 5 years, is to make sure that we're trying to do things to mitigate speeding or get some safer routes for people, and it's going to be an ongoing process. I see Ed has popped in there, the roving bicycle gangs. I remember there was an email you sent around. Do you want to maybe mention about your gangs here?
Did anyone else see the email?
Yeah.
You saw it? Yeah. So it was a resident who was chased off the sidewalk by a roving gang of youth cyclists, and and others as well. So there were about 10 other sidewalkers that were pushed out of the way. So she marched right down to the police department and she filed a report, and she implored the police to do something, to send a patrolman, someone on foot, into the area to try to get a handle on these roving youth bicycle gangs. So it's probably worth taking a look at the email, but I don't want to make light of it. But, as I kind of exit the door and you start to look for a new committee member, outreach is so important, especially like youth outreach. So this woman was basically saying, like, look, these parents are doing a poor job disciplining their kids as they kind of wonder about. I don't blame the parents. Their kids they've been at home with their kids for 150 days, so their kids are now running loose through town. But with all of that said, as you screen new members, and if you want to reach the youth, maybe find a millennial for your committee that is really good at social media, that does Instagram and TikTok, and because it's a way to connect with the youth, right, and a way to get them to listen, to wear helmets, maybe more effectively in the future. So, I mean, I looked at that email. I'll share the email if you haven't seen it, but I was hard pressed to even think of a way to respond, because I've seen those groups too in town, and I think we all have. We've seen them kind of disregarding public safety. It's probably worth, though, Keith, like having someone respond or to her and say some of the things that our committee is doing to try to increase education.
Yeah, I could probably do that. But yeah, it is one of those things. They're teenagers, and teenagers have been kind of doing this for years, and but it's just that we're trying to do our best to make sure that, again, all people that want to use the roads can do it safely. So, Mike, I just see you posted a little note up there about how many people from out of state have moved into our state. I think it's quite a few. That is for sure. And again, I don't know really how it affects our committee, but do you want to make any comments about that?
No, it just doesn't work.
You're okay. We can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay, great. So,
Yeah.
The question feeds into if we have that many more people in town, obviously it's creating pressure across the board. So more drivers, more people on the streets, more walkers, more people trying to get to the beach. I saw Brenda Kutchuk at a Operation Hope thing a couple weeks ago, and I kind of put the question out there, and she didn't really have an answer. I think it's significant. I was at Jennings this afternoon, and a third of the cars in the parking lot had New York plates. So, I mean, I don't mind it. It's fine. It's, hopefully they're supporting the restaurants and contributing positively and helping drive up house values. But nobody seems to have any metrics on this.
Mike, I think I saw something from the state. I think I saw something from the state that said, and this was like maybe 2 months ago, about 10,000 like New Yorkers had moved into Fairfield County. Okay.
Well, that would be an answer then.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the entire county, but that just kind of gives you an idea of how much movement there has been in the area.
Right. Okay. Well, that's
and of course, in the summertime, you're going to have more people. Sorry, Ann, I just read your comment. It's, in the summertime you're gonna have more summer rentals and things like that. So I'm not sure if you were saying youth or rude, but I don't think it was nude cyclists. I get people to pay attention at least. Just make sure they're wearing helmets, I guess.
I haven't been biking down to the beach very much, but when I've been out and about, I've actually seen less traffic than normal on the other roads, and I think people still aren't going out as much. They're doing fewer shopping trips, and of course school hasn't started, so the pattern will change.
I have been biking quite a bit down by the beach area, and for the most part, I would say there's definitely a lot more cyclists down there. But it's actually kind of nice because, I have noticed definitely, even I've been biking in that area for like 5 years since I moved back, and there's definitely a lot more people that are being more polite, and especially that intersection where the 7-Eleven used to be. That's always been, I always hate going across that one, but I have noticed a lot of people have been, kind of stopping and, letting the pedestrians go across the crosswalk. They're not blowing their horns behind them and things like that. So, yeah, it's a little bit better. My dog has just joined me, and she's now eating everything in my room. So, sorry.
Well, Keith, I would say to that point, that area, that's good about traffic, but I have to say I've seen bicyclists, just go right through stop signs, no stopping on both, on that four-way near on Reef and Oldfield, I guess it is. Just not, not even attempting or thinking about stopping at a stop sign, in groups or single. So.
Do the realtors give out like welcome packs or welcome, maybe that's something like the local board of realtors we could ask about, because maybe we could include something in there like, we have the route maps that we've done with Tina. So maybe we could, because it brings up a great point, and Lori even talked about the TPZ meeting coming up, and you look at the size of the housing complexes they're putting, especially down here by Fairfield Metro. So clearly they're building for the future, and they're thinking about a lot more people. So at some point it's going to have to be addressed. It's more than just COVID. It's more than people fleeing the violence in New York, right? It's just the population in Fairfield is exploding. It's a good problem to have, I'm sure, but it's going to be a challenge for the committee. So I don't know if there's something maybe the realtors do that we could take advantage of. I know when we moved to Fairfield years ago, we did receive something. We received something from the realtor, and it was some of it was useless, some of it was coupons, and some of it. So there was other content in there that was useful though.
We have a connection with the Realtors Association, so I can reach out to them and see if they do anything like that in town.
And I think now that we have even just a little write-up that we provide, with the safety tips, with also links to all the different bike routes and things like that, that's always a nice a thing that can be included for them, because we do have, we can make up a 2-pager with some of the images, the places with the repair stations and things like that, because that is something that, it's good to get the word out there. And, it was nice that they had the Connecticut Post did that article. I did include the link in the minutes just so everybody had it if you didn't see it. But, it's great. Just keep getting that word out there and, doing a little bit more promotion of the work that we've been doing.
If I can comment on that article, the first one's kind of a funny comment. Keith, you took a lot of good photos. You got credit for all of them.
I know. Ed sent me some, and then for whatever reason,
I sent you some too.
I changed my Dropbox settings, and I have to go through like all of my pictures to find stuff. And I've been trying to get some more of the bike. If people do have good bike pedestrian committee type photos, just send them on to me. I'm trying to create a little repository of them. But yeah, thank you, Laura, for having your partner be the head photo of that one.
But it, the post said that you took the photo, and that's not true. But anyway.
Oh, really? I sent them to him, so I guess.
Yeah, that's what they. And but I did have one other comment that I wanted to make. Somebody from the Sound Cyclist Bike Club was annoyed that the pictures of the 3 feet signs that they weren't given any credit in the article for having provided those signs to us. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Please?
I'm sorry about that. Like, again, I had the picture of the 3-foot sign, but yeah, I should have let the recorder know about that. We had a little bit of a difficulty connecting, as we went back and forth playing phone tag. So, I did the best I could. I actually did ask.
It's not a big thing, but next time,
Yeah. No, I actually asked him to see, if I would have a chance to take a look at the article before he sent it out, and he said no. So, to maintain journalistic integrity. So I get it, but I just want to make sure that things that were not misrepresented. Sometimes when you say something, it may not be exactly what they hear. So, all right. I think basically I've kind of gotten to the end of the things that were on the agenda list. I'm just going to turn it over to everybody else, see if there's anybody else that had any comments, things that they wanted to bring up. Again, this has definitely been a strange couple of months. We haven't had a chance to do much in the way of events or anything, but hopefully we'll be back to normal at some point in the future. I'm tired of looking at TV images of all you people. I'd like to see 3-dimensional ones.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? All right, well, I guess we'll be able to close our meeting a little bit early. And again, one last time, Ed, wishing you all the best of luck. It's going to be, it's sad to lose you. Maybe you'll be back here in 2 years. Who knows? Maybe you'll be running for a seat in the House of Commons at some point. I don't know if they'll let you do that or not, but let me unmute you for a second.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been great. And I still have my stuff is here, so I'll be back. I'm going to be in the U.S. at least twice a year in the Norwalk office. So it's just more likely that if I'm back, I'll be in North Carolina to visit my folks. But Fairfield's my home. We moved here. My family moved here in '84, and Linda knows this. It was tough when they moved to North Carolina on me. My brother moved. He's my best friend. That's been tough, but this is an awesome opportunity. I'm working with a group that I really absolutely love, and I like adventure. So 2 years in Europe, and I know Keith, you do a lot of traveling, so you gave me a lot of inspiration. Plus, after the rep assignment in Paris, that was too much. That was too much fun. It was tough to come back to Norwalk after being in Paris for more than a half year.
I know. Norwalk and Paris are kind of the same, right?
Yeah, definitely. What my last
culture, history, things like that.
I mentioned it last week, but make sure you check out Wake Cup Coffee. The place is great, right by the metro station. So great owners. Did you go, Jay?
Yeah, and they have the bike decor.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they have a bike a table on top of a bicycle. Anyway, it's a great place. Yeah, I agree.
So
Cool.
Ed, you'll have to report to us on bike and pedestrian developments in London and Europe generally. So I'm sure they're doing much better than we are.
Yeah, I plan on sending updates.
The roads are a lot narrower there. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ed, I'll have to connect with you to get your little gift as well.
Okay, thank you. And Karen, I'll thank Karen.
Well, we're going to, really quickly, we're going to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next month.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Keith.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.